text. The Holiness Code goes on, I don't know, about a third longer than this. These are behavioral things that we could say God sees. We know in our heart when we transgress them, but no one else might know. So this brings us back to what is being holy. Yes, so I want the reason that we read Psalm 15 and Isaiah are other ways of talking about holiness. So I invite you to take a look at those texts again sometime later. Isaiah is saying, by the way, Isaiah is not saying don't fast, don't bring your sacrifices, don't worship. Rather, feed the hungry and clothe the naked. Isaiah is saying, the rituals are good, the rituals are important, but they're not enough by themselves. Anyway, I invite you to go back to that text and you'll see. Holiness in the Jewish tradition is considered to mean something that is separate. So, separate from the ordinary. So for everything up on this altar would be considered holy. You certainly wouldn't use anything that's on this altar for anything except its designated ritual purpose. There might be some examples in your own home. For example, I know that some Episcopalians count the rosary. You would never use that as just jewelry. Do you follow what I'm saying? So, for example, this prayer shawl that I'm wearing, if I were chilly one night, I wouldn't take it out and just wrap it around me like a shawl. Never. You know, it's holy in the sense that it has its own set-aside purpose, devotional purpose. So, that's how we understand holiness, is things that are set aside or are special. So now I want to apply that to us. There are activities in our day that could be considered just mundane or mechanical, but we could elevate them to be holy activities if we so turned our heart in that direction. So one of my teachers, Stephen Joseph, has suggested that there are three levels, there are three ways of talking about holiness. The first he suggests is ritual. Certainly the Eucharist would be a prime example of that. The second he suggests is time, holiness in time. So Sunday morning, the Sabbath, Holy Week, certain periods of time that are set apart that the rest of the world, did you notice during Holy Week and Easter that the rest of the world is just doing what it's doing? And yet here you as a congregation come together and use time differently. You elevate time. You set it aside and you say, this is holy time for me, for us. The third way that he suggests is what he calls soul. So first, I'll just say it in my words, ritual, time, and then ethical behavior. Behavior, just period behavior. And when we act in ways that Leviticus talks about, that no one even knows, but we know, it might be giving to charity, bringing food for the food bank. No one's going to know that you did it. And yet you have taken that food from your pantry and in some sense elevated it by donating it to people who have less. You shall be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy. Okay, fine, but how do I do that? So my question for you all this morning is to invite you to reflect on your own life first, in where do you see your life leaning towards holiness? In the area of ritual, in the area of time, in the area of, let me just say, hidden deeds for the most part. So I'm going to just let you reflect for a minute. Where do you see that this is most often express holiness in your life? It might be through ritual. It might be through time, the calendar. It might be through your private deeds of loving kindness. So let me suggest that to live a full, complete spiritual life, one would want to seek out holiness in all three of those arenas. And so if you've identified for yourself which one you already find yourself pulled towards or experiencing, then the next question is, which one do you need to turn your attention to, that maybe you've neglected that? Or maybe it just needs some strengthening. I need to bring more holiness through ritual into my life. And then not vague, what would that ritual be? You might say, this year I really didn't pay much attention to Lent. I need to be more attuned to the calendar. Calendar is really here. The ritual calendar, the religious calendar is here to give shape to our lives. And you all know that, or you wouldn't be here on a Sunday morning. But the deeper we go into the calendar of our chosen tradition, the more shape our life has, I think, in terms of holiness, as opposed to the mundane and the secular. In a different setting, I would ask if any of you would care to share what direction in holiness you would like your life to take. But I think under the circumstances, we won't share out loud. But I do hope that each of you will raise your awareness and find yourself consciously choosing to express some kind of divinity. I, the Lord, you shall be holy, for I, the Lord, am holy. To how to be that spark of divinity within ourselves that manifests itself through our holy lives. Amen.